Guys, as you know, I jumped back on the cereal bandwagon last year when I discovered Magic Spoon. With zero sugar, plus an amazing taste, this was a no-brainer. Each serving of Magic Spoon now has 14 grams of protein, only 4 net carbs, and 140 calories. You can choose from the best-selling cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter flavors, plus new awesome flavors, including blueberry and cinnamon. It is keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO-free. Click on the link and build your very own variety box. Be sure to use the promo code Chael. That's for $5 off, or you can just go to magicspoon.com/Chael. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it is backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. That means if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Again, click on the link and use the promo code Chael for $5 off, or go to magicspoon.com/Chael. So Nate Diaz is struck again. And the problem you have when Nate Diaz speaks is people listen. People care. When I say the problem you have, what I mean is if you are in that division and Nate wants something, a large part of Nate getting it is going to be Nate saying, I want it, right? I mean, it's a problem. Right when you think you got everything sorted out and who's who and here's where the players are, if Nate speaks up, it becomes a problem. Because now people are going to listen. And by the way, when Nate finally decided to speak up, guess where his words landed? ESPN. So every fighter out there who would like to have a message that somehow and some way eventually got to ESPN, Nate had the ability to give the interview to the world's largest sports network. This is where it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem if you think, okay, I got everything figured out, I got everything situated, here's the players on the board, and here's going to be my strategy moving forward. The other thing that Nate does, unintentionally, is he doesn't say very much very often. It's very easy to water your message down. That's a risk you have to take in a road you got to choose very early on. I'll personalize this by just telling you I felt it. I felt my material and my messaging weakening and watering down when I had more cameras put in my face. And the one reward that you get for being good at doing interviews is you get more interviews. The one thing you get for doing a free interview is you get to do more free interviews. So you have to ask yourself very early on, is this a part of my career that I want invoked in my career? A Conor McGregor would say yes. Chael said yes. That doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't mean Conor doesn't regret. Same way that I'm not saying that I don't regret. Because you can water a message down. And then you can have people coming to you for that quick clip. And so then you begin to pocket those and you begin to pull those out so that nobody leaves disappointed. But at the same time, you can become a character of yourself. Nate Diaz follows the most basic law of economics, which is supply and demand. If you spent 15 minutes studying economics, you have wasted 14. Supply and demand, it is all you have to know. So he has a huge demand. He offers very little supply, which is one of the reasons he ends up on ESPN. I mean, in all fairness, which is why he's a problem. The boys in Vegas are going to sit down on the second floor every Tuesday, and they're going to have a plan until Nate speaks up. And now all of a sudden, there's going to be a new conversation. It's just one of these things. He's very powerful. But Nate came out, and he called out to everybody's love Oliveira, and he called out to everybody's love Poirier. With the typical Nate swerve at the end, which is at 170 or 165 or 185, anywhere but 155. So then you sit there, you go, okay, what are we doing here? Like, Poirier is very clearly going to fight for a title shot. I don't know if anybody more clearer deserves and or is going to fight for a title shot besides Dustin Poirier. And now even Poirier take the bait. Poirier responded instantly and said, great, closer to my natural weight class, meaning I'll leave the division too. I have no problem with it. I don't think you guys do. Great. Nate and Poirier, I don't give a damn what weight they're fighting at. Great. Let's get Nate and Poirier together. I'm telling you, Dana will. Dana is very open to adaptation, except when it comes to divisions. I mean, he really has a consistency over his career dating back 20 years to his own belief in what a division means and where a contenders fight and why it matters. And if you went over the 20 years Dana's been in charge, you could only find exceptions. You'd need one hand to find the exceptions. I could probably do them off the top of my head. Allowing Conor to bounce around a little bit. Allowing Conor, come back to Conor, to go fight Floyd. I mean, that's outside of Dana's wheel, but he made an exception. I think that you would have to put James Toney, Brock Lesnar, and CM Punk all into the same pile. Where Dana doesn't like to do that, but every now and then, you put just enough years in between it, okay, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do something weird. We have some fun. But everything else, he's just very straight. I just don't see where Dana is going to allow. He'll let Nate go 170, no problem. 165 is a weight class that simply doesn't exist. So he's not going to do 165, but 170 is close enough, 5 pounds. The problem he would have is to put his number one contender, Poirier, up there on a one-off. I know what you guys are going to say. Come back to Conor. You're going to talk about Conor going up. Take it on Cowboy. I'm on your side. I'm with you. I have no problem whether that fight's out of the division or even not for a title. Every now and then you get two guys you want to see fight that want to fight each other. I agree with you. Make the fight. I don't agree with you that Dana will do it. I don't. Oliveira's got the same problem as Poirier. As far as trying to guess what Dana's going to think, that's ultimately what we're always doing, isn't it? Whenever we make a guess, well, I think this is going to happen. I think this is going to happen. What we're really saying is, here's what I think Dana's going to think. Here's what I think Dana's opinion is going to be. That's what we're always talking about when we attempt to make a guess. I'm inserting myself here. I'm inserting myself, but that's the golden rule, right? In the goal, what would you do if you were in that same situation? So I don't mean to put myself in, but one more time, I was in a fight with Lyoto Machida for one night. It was around 2010. And I got a call, Joe Silva, everything's on, me and Machida. Had a date, had everything, and I went to the gym that night. I was training with Clayton, and I told him Machida. And I remember that night, I think I remember it more clearly because I did not want to fight Machida. I was willing to, and I was going to, and nobody ever would have known I didn't want to, but I did. That was just a weird style that my teammates had already tried. Randy and Dan had already tried it, already failed at it. Okay, I got to go figure this guy out. But I share that with you because the next day, that fight was presented to Dana. After it was already agreed on, Dana hadn't heard about it. Dana hears about it, says, absolutely not. Those are two top contenders that are going to go into title fights. I'm not going to have those guys fight for no reason and eliminate. One of them gets eliminated. Now, I only bring that story to you because I feel as though being armed with the way Dana's mind works with my own situation with Lyoto, that's what you run into when you have Poirier and you have Oliveira. You have two guys who could go fight for the title. You have two guys that are going to fight for the title. And so to make believe that you're going to take either one of those two guys, bump them up against Nate, when Nate is saying, I'm not coming down, it's a little bit different, guys. It really is, because I know the example you're thinking. You're thinking, well, why did Conor get a fight Cowboy? But if you'll recall, Dana came out on that fight and said openly, don't forget that fight was January 20th, because Dana said, look, it's the holidays. These are 255-pounders, and neither of them wants to cut weight. I want you to view this fight as though it's 255-pounders fighting at 55. I want the rankings to reflect it. I want the elevation and the immersion of the net. Whoever wins this fight is coming back to 55 and will go into a ranked contenders fight based on the outcome of this. I want you to look at it as 255-pounders fighting. They're going to do it at 170. It's the holidays. I bring that to you because you can't put that same logic to work as it involves Diaz. And it doesn't matter if you're taking Poirier or Oliveira. If you bump him up to fight Diaz and Diaz beats him, but he's already said, I'm never going to 55, then the question does remain, then why did we do this fight? Is it just a personal grudge? Is it just to get Nate back? Is this the big box office draw? Why? Is Nate going to stay at 170? Does he want ranking matches at 170? If the answer to that is yes, then I'll just put him with a 170 pounder right now. I'll grab Tyron Woodley and I'll grab Nate Diaz and I'll put them together at 170. Why am I going to put a guy who's staying at 170 with a 55 pounder? And even to go back to what Dana said about just imagine Connor and Donald are fighting. 255 pounders are going to fight. Ignore the weight. 255 pounders are going to fight. You can't do that same imagine when Nate is openly saying, I'm never going to 55. The question becomes, why are we challenging 55 pounders? And by the way, I'm making this argument in spite of my own wishes. I want Nate to fight Oliveira. I want Nate to fight Poirier. I want Nate to fight them both. I want Oliveira to fight Poirier. I want all of these things to happen. But I don't know how I'm going to get my wish. I don't know how I'm going to get my wish. Oh, and by the way, now it turns out Poirier wants to fight Nate. Great. You have two guys who want to fight each other. Two box offers, proven draws that want to fight each other. It's everything that we love about a fight. It's not what Dana loves about the fight. And that's ultimately whose mind you're trying to make up. Now, I think everybody can come together, including Dana. I think Dana signs right off on it. Boom. Somebody's going to have to give. We're going to have to do it at 155. You guys are going to have to leave the... Hey, Poirier, you're number one contender at 55. You tell me you want to leave the division? I'll put you in the ranking mix at 170 now. See how you come out. Can't guarantee anything. Is that what you're telling me you want? I mean, you see the problem? And if we are going to put Nate at 170, it sounds as though we should discuss Nate and 170 pounders. It's just a mess. It's a mess because it's a miss, but it's only a miss by it's a miss by this much. We're this close. We're this close. We're this close to getting Nate back. More to come.